Welcome to Life on Maui. I'm your host, Steve.
And I am Radhe.
So, this episode is going to accentuate Radhe's enthusiasm for all things technological.
Yay!
She's got a lot of enthusiasm around the IT and the robotics and all the new things, and she's going to talk about three things in particular. And I want to say that because of your interest in finances, because you're a financial advisor, that you have a particular interest in these technologies because of the financial possibilities, but also because you're genuinely enthused about the possibilities that these technologies have for improving our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give Radhe plenty of space to talk about to develop about her different areas that she's very enthused about. And then toward the end, we're going to have a discussion about what that really means for all of us in the big picture of our lives.
Yeah. Let's have a dialogue. Yeah, let's do. So, yeah, let's get started. So you're right. I'm very excited and very enthused with all the technologies that are coming up in basically three areas: and robotics, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality.
Well, and also the kitchen thing.
Which is...
You love that.
I know. So, I like to share some of examples of this kind of technology. Okay, so one that I'm really excited about is a pillow that has an artificial intelligence device in it. So you sleep with this pillow, and this is what it does. Imagine that there is a little device that is able to record your breathing rate as you fall asleep, and is able to record your heart rate as you fall asleep, and it can distinctly recognize when you are about to fall asleep and when you are in deep sleep. Okay? And now imagine that you sleep with this pillow after it's basically recorded your different states, and it's able to make micro motions, right? It's able to move in very small dimensions and able to basically mimic the way you breathe and the way your heart rate tunes to your breath, to your breathing rate, and keep you in that rhythm of deep sleep. Right?
So it sounds like what it's doing is for people who have sleep issues.
Yeah.
And I'm one, so I'm looking forward to this.
Some do, yeah.
Yeah, and so I take melatonin, I take tryptophan to help me sleep. And so this sounds like a technology that can monitor our sleep patterns and actually help us
be in deep sleep.
I see.
Right? Because it's actually moving along with your rhythms, with your own rhythms. So it's incredible, because what it means is that you're not going to need to buy all these sleeping pills, all these alternative forms of medicine that help you sleep longer or sleep better, because this pillow is going to mechanically, almost like a lullaby, tune into your own rhythm and keep you there for a while. So I think it's just fantastic. It will get rid of all the adverse effects that you get from taking whatever it is that you take, right? I mean, many times you take tryptophan or you take other alternative supplements, and yes, it helps you sleep, but then the next day you wake up tense, you wake up sleepy, you wake up grunchy, you wake up this or that or the other. Well, now with this technology, there's no more chemicals.
Well, just a clarification. I've been taking tryptophan and melatonin for a long time. I never wake up. Actually, those things in themselves are supplements that help with our mood. So they're actually mood enhancing. But that all said,
The next
day, well, no, the next day is fine. It's all good. But I would be happy to trade that off for some technology that could improve my intrinsic sleep patterns so that I slept more deeply and more soundly. I'd be happy to get rid of all that stuff.
Okay, fine. So basically that's one of them. So that's really exciting. The other technology that I'm very excited about is actually related to virtual reality. And it basically works like this. Imagine that you wear, virtual reality goggles, lenses, and that you are one of those people that has phobias or vertigo, you're afraid of heights,
Yes.
or you have certain tendencies that make
Obsessive
you
compulsive.
obsessive compulsive. They're triggers that bring the obsessive part of you out, right? And so you wear these virtual reality lenses, and gradually these triggers begin to appear in your sight. So if you're afraid of heights, suddenly with the goggles you begin to see yourself going up in height, right? You're going up, and you can actually see how the mind is responding to what you're seeing, right? But you're very aware that this is a perception issue, that this is the mind doing a trick on you, because you're not going anywhere in a height. You're basically down. But the perception, the mind will trigger the usual symptoms, which is increased sweating or increased heart rate, and gradually as you begin to notice this, you're able to control it, because this is a controlled environment. So you stop that for a moment and you relax, right? Because you're very well aware that you're not in height, in any kind of an altitude anywhere high, and you're able to retrain your sensory and remind yourself that no, you're down. This is your perception that's just firing. And so by repeating this again and again with the help of this virtual reality lenses, and by controlling the intensity of the triggers, eventually you are writing a new neuropath, a new reaction.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And that's really wonderful, because now you're in control. Now you know that it's a perception problem. You know that it's also a gradual retraining of your system, and it's chemical free.
And you also are very aware that going into this, that it is virtual.
It is
That you're not actually going to a high height, that there's a comfort in knowing that it's virtual.
Exactly. Or the same thing with compulsive behavior. You might be presented with a trigger, but now you know the context. You know you are in a controlled environment. You know that this reaction is a tendency of your body, and you're not totally clutched to it.
Right.
So you can gradually adjust and say, okay, I could see my tendency, and I'm going to relax and not respond to it, and allow a gap in between, and so that all that tendency slowly, gradually begins to slow down and hopefully be gone, right? That's the whole idea.
Yes.
So I think that has like a tremendous potential to help us deal with things that before were very difficult to deal with, that require a long treatment. This is very hands-on, very real in a way, and it has no secondary effects, which is always a concern. What if I get rid of this, but then I end up with a new one?
Right.
Right.
And I also, this is the second one along with the sleep that I would personally welcome, because I have a little bit of OCD around checking things and so forth and so on. So I would welcome being free of that.
Right,
I'm working on it within myself in my own ways, but any technology that could help, I welcome it.
Right, exactly. And the third super exciting development in terms of technology has to do with artificial intelligence and is what they call the smart kitchen. And so that includes all kinds of artificial intelligence that is implemented, that's added to accessories like a refrigerator, like your stove, like even your garbage disposal. I mean, they're all in sync.
And I want to say that this is coming from somebody who's not in love with the kitchen.
So I don't like, so that I'm just totally excited about that,
Yeah,
right?
maybe this is one that could help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody who doesn't like to hang out in the kitchen too much. Anyway, so just imagine that you're home and that you basically can talk to your devices, right? We already have these voice-activated technologies, right? Like many people own these Alexas. And
Alexa or Siri.
Right,
or,
and
yeah.
they could just say, Alexa, I need this, I need that. So same idea, voice activation, but this time you're going to talk to your refrigerator or your stove, and you're going to say, I'd like to have, for example, a spicy Indian plate for dinner. And so the refrigerator registers your voice and immediately reacts by checking. There's a little drone inside your refrigerator that is able to go through the shelves and identify all the ingredients, all the products, all the things that you would need and that you have available for cooking this Indian dinner. And once it identifies, it immediately talks to your stove, right? The same way our cell phones talk to each other. So it just basically sends signals, and your stove registers the message and immediately begins to activate the stove. It starts to turn the heaters on, and the pots get automatically placed on the stoves, pre-programmed to temperatures that will match the kind of dish that, the dish that you want.
So is this an actual robot that's doing this?
Well, and then it's not a robot. These are just accessories that are able to turn themselves on and off by voice. But in addition to that, there will be a robot that's able to just transport, one item from the refrigerator to the stove. A very mechanical thing.
Maybe mix something for you.
Maybe mix things for you and stuff like that. And this is not sci-fi. It sounds like I'm just describing something of the future, but it's already in existence. All these three developments are already here.
Amazing.
But they're very unaffordable right now. They're very expensive, but like all technologies, in time, they become a commodity, and that's the whole idea, right? I mean, for people to actually be able to buy this. So now that the stove, the refrigerator, and this little robotic machine has put all the pieces together, they bring your dinner to your table in 20 minutes. You enjoy your food. It takes the plate back to the kitchen, and you're done. You never really have to do anything, and including the fact that the refrigerator has a kind of a memory and voice activation that actually tells you, reminds you of your own nutritional deficiencies or the areas in which you need to improve. So for example, if you are overdoing oils or fats, it might talk to you and say, Steve, remember, you're cutting down your blah, blah, blah. Or you might not want to have that.
So this might be an area where it's interactive, where you might say to the computer, I have high cholesterol, watch my cholesterol. My salt's too high.
Exactly.
Monitor my salt for me.
Or not much sugar, I have diabetes,
Right.
And it would present an alternative, and it will tell you, we can change this for that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Don't eat that ice cream, right? Or just have a little bit of it. So it's really a wonderful way to improve your nutrition, but I will say there's also a downside to everything I am sharing, and one of them is that when you have something that's voice activated, that knows everything you're doing, right? Where you are in the house, what you like to eat, all the things that you're ordering, inevitably invades your privacy. And what I mean by that is, if you have an Alexa in your house, then Google knows everything you're doing, everything you're asking for, everything that you like to do. So the downside of it is that the more technologically dependent you become, the Googles of this world will know everything you're doing, where you are in the house, what you're eating, what you're ordering. So it could be dangerous because of the targeting aspect of it. But
well, it's an extension of what is already.
Yeah.
Because already, through all the searches we do and all the Facebook pictures and everything, this would be the next step of gathering information about all of our different proclivities
Right.
and everything, and it could open up a whole other realm of us
Right.
being targeted by people
Yeah.
who want to get our attention.
Exactly. So that's important to know. I mean, it's super exciting, but at the same time, become aware of how dangerous, this could be, and try to balance the two. I mean, maybe you want to keep that in sight and have certain things that you want to have technology help you with, but certain things that you don't, just because you want to keep certain things of your life private, right?
Just like we're learning with all of it.
Like with Facebook and Google and Gmail and all that stuff.
Do you mind if I interject some interesting counterpoints?
Yeah, so let me just, Steve, I know you have different views about technology. I'm very excited about it, but you have shared your thoughts and your wisdom about technology, and so go ahead.
So here's what I want to say. That throughout the ages, technology has always promised to make our life easier and better,
Right.
and give you more free time, more time with your family,
Right.
on and on and on. This goes back to the printing press, and before that, radio, television, electricity, automobiles. Oh my God, we thought when we had an automobile, we won't be dependent on the horse, and
We'll be
our
happy.
lives will be free and happy. What I can see is that throughout time, and this is no different, throughout time, technology promises that it's going to make our lives happier, better, create more free time for us.
Yeah.
But really, what I see, the important point here, is to learn the lesson from our past and to see that what we really need to be doing, as is always the case, as all the wise ones and all the sages and all the prophets have always said, find your happiness within yourself. Find your peace within yourself. Find your love within yourself. Because as long as we think that these technologies are going to improve our life, I really enjoy my phone. I really enjoy my computer. I'm a movie buff. I love having access to all the movies and everything like that. But I'm very aware of the fact that they're not going to make me happy. It's not going to make me peaceful. It's not going to bring love and light into my life. That I have to find that within myself. And then all these things can be fun things to play with. It's like a famous quote from the Bible, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added unto you. I think that's the case with this too.
And I could just add another piece to what you're saying, and I think that's absolutely right, that if you do not have that inner center and silence, all these devices, all this technology can have, and it has an opposite effect on people, right? I mean, is very addictive.
Yes.
It's very distracting. It does not allow you to go through your natural processes in life because it interferes with many aspects of your development. You're comparing yourself many times and bringing all these unnecessary low self-esteem, right? That happens when you compare yourself to others based on whatever you define success to be. So if it's beauty, then oh, I'm not as beautiful. If it's career, or why are people more successful? If it's money, why are people more wealthy? If it's something else, then why do I have less and other people have more? And because of technology, this can actually aggravate all these situations. So I'm in complete agreement that the inner has to be solid, it has to be grounded, and only then you can play with these toys. And the key thing is without attachment.
Yes, and to add to that, just along the same lines, so this has been going on for years through the print media, the Madison Avenue, men's magazines, women's magazines, television commercials, Hollywood. This has been endemic in our society and our culture for years. So we would be very wise to be able to be mindful at this point in time of we're being even more inundated with our phones in our pockets. And you know, it's so obvious these days. You sit in you look at a cafe and you see 4 people, 5 people, 6 people all looking at their cell phones and nobody's talking to each other.
That's true. Yeah. That is true, and I really look forward to a time when that will change. I hope it won't take too long because all these voice-activated toys are coming up, and we might actually end up with the opposite, where everybody's just talking now and talking because of the voice activation. But again, I mean, the takeaway is no matter if you're looking down or if you're, talking to your voice-activated toys, the bottom line is that unless you stay in tune with yourself, unless you become grounded in who you really are, all these things are nothing but what you were describing. This hype about back then was electricity, then it was cars, then it was cell phones, then it was computers, now it is these new robotic technology, this new artificial intelligence and on and on and on.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a good note to end on.
Absolutely, yes.
So thank you for joining us in this conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. This has been something we've been wanting to share for a while. And please leave any responses that you have on the YouTube or on Facebook or wherever you want to. We'd love to hear your input. And until next time, aloha.
Aloha.
Call me crazy, but I'm never giving up my dreams. No matter how far away they seem, maybe crazy is the secret to my mad success. One by one.